You think buying a tin of sweet corn is one of the simplest choices in the supermarket. It's just corn in a tin, right? But the reality is far more deceptive. Behind those bright labels and small price tags are clever tricks designed to make you pay far more than the product is actually worth. Some brands shrink the portion and hope you won't notice. Others charge premium prices for exactly the same corn you could buy for half the cost. In this video, we're exposing the 9 UK tinned sweet corn brands you should walk straight past, what you should actually be buying instead, and a simple hack that'll help you get value for your money each time you buy tinned sweet corn. Number 9. Cerio Sweet Corn. The Italian brand that convinces you premium heritage equals premium product. Cerio sells their 326-gram tin for £1.25 to £1.40 at most major UK supermarkets. That's 38p per 100 grams. The marketing is impressive. Founded in 1856. First to preserve premium Italian tomatoes and vegetables, sponsor of the Italian Chefs Federation, picked and processed in 24 hours, vacuum packed, steam cooked, no additives. Let's examine what you're actually buying. The ingredients list shows sweet corn, water, and salt, exactly the same as Morrison's own brand. The processing claims sound sophisticated until you realize that all tinned sweet corn is picked at peak ripeness and processed quickly. That's standard industry practice, not an Italian innovation. The vacuum packing, also standard. Every tin of sweet corn is vacuum sealed. That's how canning works. The steam cooking, again standard. You cannot tin sweet corn without heat processing. They've described normal food manufacturing as if it's artisanal craftsmanship. The drained weight is 285 grams. Work out the maths. You're paying 44 to 49 pence per 100 grams of actual sweet corn. Morrison's gives you 260 grams drained for 40 to 70 pence, which is 15 to 27 pence per 100 grams. You're paying nearly double per gram for exactly the same product with an Italian flag on the label. Cerio markets to people who associate Italian food brands with quality, and for pasta sauce or tinned tomatoes, that association often holds true. But sweet corn is sweet corn. It's grown in France, not Italy. Check the label, produced in France. The Italian connection is purely branding. There's nothing authentically Italian about French sweet corn tinned by an Italian company and sold in British supermarkets for double the price of functionally identical alternatives. If you want to pay extra for genuine Italian ingredients where origin matters, buy Cerio tomatoes. Don't pay the Italy tax on sweet corn that tastes identical to the Aldi tin costing 35 pence. But Cerio only charges you for heritage you don't need. The next brand sells you tiny portions and hopes you won't check the price per kilogram. Number 8. Any supermarket own brand. 198 to 200 gram tins. This isn't brand specific, this is an industry-wide scam. Every supermarket sells small 198 to 200 gram tins of their own brand sweet corn, and they're all terrible value compared to the standard 325 to 340 gram tins. Tesco Naturally Sweet 200 grams costs around 60 to 80 pence. Their 325 gram tin costs roughly the same or slightly more. You're paying the same price for 62% of the sweet corn. The only thing you're saving is cupboard space. Asda does the same thing. Sainsbury's does it. Morrison's does it. They all know that people see a sub £1 price tag and think bargain without checking the price per kilogram, and they're making a fortune from it. These tins are designed for people who don't do maths. They look cheap because they're under £1, but the price per kilogram is shocking. They're also designed for single-person households who've been convinced they don't need a full tin. But sweet corn keeps for 2 days in the fridge after opening. Unless you're eating sweet corn every single day, the larger tin is always better value. The only time these small tins make sense is if you're meal prepping exact portions for a specific dietary plan, and you need exactly 160 grams of sweet corn per serving. Even then, you'd be better off buying the large tin, portioning it yourself into containers, and freezing what you don't need immediately. For everyone else, these are poverty taxes disguised as convenience. You're paying more to get less, and the only winner is the supermarket's profit margin. Number 7. M&S Sweet Corn. M&S sells their tinned sweet corn in 195-gram tins for 75 pence. That works out to roughly 38 pence per 100 grams. Compare that to Morrison's 326-gram tin at 40 to 70 pence, which gives you 260 grams drained for 15 to 27 pence per 100 grams. You're paying nearly double per gram for a tin that's 40% smaller. The marketing on the label says, crisp and naturally sweet sweet corn in water. Let's break that down. Crisp? That's what happens when you tin sweet corn at peak freshness. It's not a special M&S process, it's standard industry practice. Naturally sweet, that's what sweet corn is. It's in the name. They're charging you 75 pence for a tin where half the description is just stating basic facts about the product. The ingredients list is actually simpler than most. Sweet corn, water, no salt, which means M&S is genuinely selling you pure sweet corn with nothing added. Credit where it's due. But here's the problem. So are Aldi and Lidl for 35 to 45 pence. For 340 grams, you're paying nearly double the price for 60% less product. M&S markets this with their Eat Well logo and calls it a source of protein. Technically true, all sweet corn is a source of protein, roughly 2.7 grams per 100 grams. That's not unique to M&S sweet corn. That's just sweet corn being sweet corn. But slap an Eat Well logo on it, and suddenly people think they're making a healthier choice by paying double. They also sell this in multipacks, 3 tins of 195 grams each, 585 grams total for probably £2 or more. You could buy 2 Morrison's 326-gram tins for 80 pence to £1.40 and get 652 grams. More product, less money, identical ingredients. Number 6. Waitrose Essential Sweet Corn. Waitrose charges £1.45 for their Essential Range Sweet Corn. Let's be very clear, this is Waitrose's budget line, their cheapest option, and it still costs more than Morrison's, Tesco, Asda and Sainsbury's standard ranges. The ingredients? Sweet corn and water. Same as everyone else. The processing? Standard canning, same as everyone else. The difference? You're shopping at Waitrose, and Waitrose knows their customers associate the brand with quality, so they can charge 40 to 100 pence more per tin for an identical product. This is the cost of shopping somewhere that makes you feel sophisticated. You're not paying for better sweet corn. You're paying for the Waitrose experience, the nicer lighting in the store, the classical music playing in the background, the fact that you can tell your friends you shop at Waitrose. The sweet corn was probably tinned in the same factory as Tesco's. It's grown in the same fields as Asda's. It's shipped on the same lorries as Morrison's. The only difference is the label stuck on the tin and the extra pound in Waitrose's till. Waitrose customers will argue that they're paying for ethical sourcing, better farming practices and higher welfare standards. And for some products, that's genuinely true. But for tinned sweet corn from France, the farming regulations are identical across all UK retailers. You're not funding higher welfare, you're funding higher profit margins. If shopping at Waitrose makes you happy, that's fine. But recognise what you're paying for. You're paying for brand positioning, not product quality. Number 5. Morrison's Sweet Corn and Peppers. This isn't Morrison's being greedy. This is Morrison's copying the same scam that Green Giant perfected. Morrison sells sweet corn and peppers in water for 85 pence to £1. Sounds like a nice mixed vegetable option until you read what's actually in the tin. The pepper content isn't listed on most supermarket websites, but industry standard for these mixed varieties is roughly 3 to 5% peppers. You're paying 20 to 30 pence more than plain sweet corn for approximately 1 teaspoon of chopped peppers. Do the maths on what you're actually buying. A regular Morrison's sweet corn tin costs 40 to 70 pence for 326 grams. The mixed version costs 85 pence to £1 for likely the same size tin. You're paying 15 to 60 pence extra for about 10 to 15 grams of red and green peppers. That works out to roughly 10 to 40 pounds per kilogram for peppers. You could buy an entire fresh pepper for 50 to 80 pence and chop it yourself. But the pricing isn't even the worst part. To make those pathetic few grams of peppers look crisp and colourful next to the sweet corn, manufacturers typically add firming agents or acidity regulators. These aren't dangerous, but they're completely unnecessary in plain sweet corn. The only reason they exist is to prevent the peppers from looking sad and wilted, so you don't immediately notice you've paid extra for nothing. The marketing implies you're buying a convenient ready-made salad base, but 3 to 5% peppers doesn't make a salad. It makes sweet corn with a few random pepper pieces scattered through it. If you genuinely want sweet corn with vegetables, buy a tin of plain sweet corn for 40 pence and add your own fresh peppers, tomatoes, cucumber, whatever you actually want in your salad. You'll have enough vegetables to taste them, you'll save money, and you won't be eating unnecessary additives. This is the supermarket version of shrinkflation. Instead of making the tin smaller, they've added a negligible amount of a cheap ingredient, called it a premium mixed variety, and charged you more. The sweet corn portion is likely slightly smaller than the plain version to accommodate the peppers, so you're getting less of what you actually wanted and paying more for the privilege. Mixed vegetables sound healthy until you realize they're 95% sweet corn. The next brand takes a different approach, adding sugar to sweet corn that's already naturally sweet. Number 4. Green Giant Original Sweet Corn 4-pack. Multipacks are supposed to save you money, right? Bulk discount. Not with Green Giant. Their 4-pack of 198-gram tins costs £2.25 at Morrison's. That's 792 grams gross weight, 560 grams drained for £2.25. Now look at Morrison's own brand 4-pack. Same size tins, £1.75. You're paying 50 pence more for the green label. That's a 29% price premium for the exact same product. But it gets worse. If you compare it to Morrison's single large 326-gram tin at 40 to 70 pence, you could buy 4 of those for £1.60 to £2.80. Even at the higher end, you're getting 1,304 grams for £2.80 versus 792 grams for £2.25 with Green Giant. Every time you choose Green Giant's multi-pack over the own brand version, you're funding their advertising budget, their sponsorship deals, and their brand management team. None of that makes the sweet corn taste better. It just makes it cost more. You're literally paying extra to watch their adverts. Think about that. Number 3. Green Giant Salad. Crisp sweet corn. Green Giant Salad Crisp costs 95 pence for a 150-gram tin. But wait, that's the gross weight. The drained weight is 140 grams. Work out the price per kilogram, and it comes to £6.79. £6.79 per kilogram for tinned sweet corn. For context, Morrison's charges £1.23 per kilogram for their standard sweet corn. You're paying 5.5 times more for salad crisp. Here's the secret. Absolutely nothing makes it crisp. It's the same sweet corn. The variety might be slightly different. They might harvest it at a slightly earlier stage, but nutritionally and practically it's identical to every other tin of sweet corn on the shelf. The word crisp is marketing language designed to make you think you're getting something special. You're not. You're getting 140 grams of sweet corn for 95 pence, when you could get 260 grams for 40 pence 3 steps away. All tinned sweet corn is picked at peak ripeness and tinned within hours to preserve texture. That's standard practice across the industry. Green Giant hasn't invented some revolutionary crisping process. They've just stuck a fancy name on it and charged you 6 times the going rate. They market this as a convenient single-serve size for salads. But who needs exactly 140 grams of sweet corn in their salad? Either you want sweet corn or you don't. If you do, buy a normal-sized tin and use what you need. Refrigerate the rest. It lasts for 2 days. You'll save yourself £5 per kilogram, and you won't feel like a fool when you realize you've been paying premium prices for the exact same product in a smaller package. This is exploitation dressed up as convenience. Don't fall for it. Number 2. Del Monte Cream Style Sweetcorn. This is harder to find in UK supermarkets, but Del Monte Cream Style Sweetcorn occasionally appears in larger Tesco, Sainsbury's, and specialist import stores. The 425-gram tin typically costs £1.50 to £2. Here's what you're buying: sweetcorn, water, sugar, modified maize starch, salt. Read that again. Sugar in sweet corn. Sweet corn that is literally named for being naturally sweet already. The sugar isn't there because sweet corn needs it. The sugar exists to create that thick, creamy texture without using any actual cream. Combined with modified maize starch, you get a product that resembles cream sauce but contains zero dairy. You're eating sweet corn flavored pudding. The modified starch thickens the liquid. The added sugar makes it taste sweeter than natural sweet corn. The result is something that superficially looks creamy but is actually just processed corn, with thickeners and sweeteners. Check the calorie content. Regular tinned sweet corn contains roughly 70 to 80 calories per 100 grams. Cream-style sweet corn typically contains 120 to 140 calories per 100 grams. That's a 60 to 80% calorie increase for absolutely no additional nutritional benefit. The extra calories come entirely from added sugar and starch. If you're watching your weight or managing blood sugar, this is a disaster disguised as a vegetable. The irony is that making actual creamed sweet corn at home takes about 3 minutes. Open a tin of regular sweet corn, drain half the liquid, add a tablespoon of real cream or butter, heat it up, mash some of the kernels with a fork if you want it thicker. You'll have genuine creamed sweet corn with real dairy. You'll control exactly how much sugar and fat goes in, and you'll pay less than buying the pre-made version with modified starch. This is an American product that crossed the Atlantic because Del Monte spotted a market gap. In the United States, cream-style corn is a traditional side dish for Thanksgiving and barbecues. British consumers have no cultural attachment to it. We're just being sold unnecessary additives because Del Monte can charge premium prices for a specialty product. Most British shoppers buying this have never had it before and assume the thick sweet sauce is normal for tinned sweet corn. It isn't. It's manufactured. If you see this on shelves and think it's a convenient way to make creamy sweet corn, you're right. It's convenient. It's also unnecessary, more expensive, higher calorie, and full of ingredients that don't belong in vegetables. Make it yourself with actual cream and save money whilst avoiding modified starch. Number 1. Green Giant Salt-Free Sweet Corn 4-pack. And here we are, the absolute worst value tinned sweet corn you can buy in the UK. Green Giant salt-free sweet corn 4-pack costs £3.90 at Morrison's. £3.90 for 792 grams of salt-free sweet corn. That's £4.92 per kilogram. Let's put this in perspective. Morrison's owns salt-free sweet corn in the larger 326-gram tin costs 40 to 70 pence. You could buy 6 of those tins for £2.40 to £4.20 and get nearly double the sweet corn. Even at the higher end, you're saving money whilst getting more product. The marketing implies this is somehow healthier, somehow worth the premium. But here's what they don't tell you. The regular Green Giant sweet corn with salt contains such a minuscule amount of salt, it's essentially negligible anyway. They know that salt-free makes people think better for me, so they can charge premium prices even though the health benefit is negligible for most consumers. And because it's a multi-pack, you think you're being smart by buying in bulk. You're not. You're being smart marketed. Green Giant has taken 2 gimmicks, the salt-free label and the multi-pack format, and combined them into one spectacularly overpriced product. And people buy it because they've been conditioned to associate salt-free with health and multi-packs with value. Neither assumption is true in this case. Now let's look at what you should actually be buying. Aldi and Lidl sell their own brand sweet corn for around 35 to 45 pence per 340 gram tin. The ingredients are simple: sweet corn and water. That's it. No salt, no additives, just corn in a tin. The quality is identical to brands charging 3 times the price. At roughly 13 to 15 pence per 100 grams drained weight, this is an unbeatable value. If you have an Aldi or Lidl within a reasonable distance, this should be your default choice. Stock up. Buy 10 tins. They last for years in the cupboard and you'll save a fortune over time. If you don't have an Aldi or Lidl nearby, the big 4 supermarkets all sell their standard own brand Sweetcorn for 40 to 70 pence, depending on current promotions. Morrison's tends to be cheapest at around 40 pence, but they all fluctuate. Ingredients are virtually identical across all brands: sweetcorn, water, and sometimes a tiny amount of salt. The 325 to 340 gram tins give you 260 to 285 grams of drained sweet corn, which is a proper portion size for a family meal or multiple servings for one person. Don't be loyal to one supermarket. Check the offers. Whoever's cheapest that week, buy from them. It's all the same sweet corn. If organic certification matters to you, Sainsbury's organic sweet corn is usually around £2.85 to £3. £1.35 for a multi-pack or 65 pence to £1 for a single tin. It's more expensive than conventional, but you're paying for certified organic farming practices, not marketing gimmicks. The ingredients are still just organic sweet corn and water. This is one of the few cases where a premium price actually gets you something different. The corn is grown without synthetic pesticides or fertilizers. If that's important to you, Sainsbury's Organic is decent value compared to other organic options. Now, as a bonus for sticking to the end, let's talk about how you actually pick the right sweet corn when you're standing in the supermarket aisle with a screaming toddler and 10 minutes before the car park runs out. 3 rules that'll save you a fortune. First, look at the price per kilogram or price per 100 grams, not the ticket price. Small tins always cost more per gram. Always. The big bold number on the shelf might say 60 pence, but if it's a tiny tin, you're paying £4 per kilogram. The supermarkets know exactly what they're doing here. They make that 60 pence massive and bold, and they hide the price per kilogram in tiny grey text at the bottom of the label. They're banking on you not bothering to check. Here's the mental math shortcut. A 325 gram tin at 50 pence is roughly £1.50 per kilogram. A 200 gram tin at 60 pence is £3 per kilogram. That's double for the same sweet corn, just in a smaller tin. Most shelf labels now legally have to show price per kilogram or price per 100 grams. Use it. It's the only number that matters. If you're comparing Green Giant at £4.92 per kilogram to Aldi at £1.30 per kilogram, the choice is obvious. Brand loyalty costs you nearly 4 times more. And watch for the sneaky trick where they show price per kilogram on one product and price per 100 grams on another. Convert them. £1 per kilogram equals 10 pence per 100 grams. Do the maths in your head or use your phone calculator. 30 seconds of arithmetic will save you pounds over time. Second, avoid anything with more than 3 ingredients for plain sweet corn. Sweet corn, water, and optionally salt. That's it. That's the complete list of what should be in a tin of sweet corn. If you see sugar, you're being conned. Sweet corn is already sweet. If you see modified starch, you're paying for filler. If you see firming agents, you're paying for chemicals that serve no purpose except making inferior ingredients look better. Read the ingredients list, not the marketing on the front. Salad crisp means nothing. Super sweet means nothing. These are advertising terms with no legal definition. The ingredients list is the only part of the label that has to be honest. And here's a pro tip. Ingredients are listed in order of weight. If water is listed second and salt is third, then that tin is mostly corn. If water is first, you're buying corn-flavored water. Most decent brands list sweet corn first because that's what you're actually paying for. Check the drained weight too. Some brands list gross weight prominently and hide drained weight in tiny text. You're not eating the water. The drained weight is what you're actually getting. A 340-gram tin might only be 285 grams drained. That changes your price per kilogram calculation significantly. Third, bigger tins are almost always better value. Even if you're cooking for one, Sweetcorn keeps in the fridge for 2 days after opening. Transfer it to a covered container, not the tin itself, and it'll be absolutely fine. Use what you need for tonight's dinner, refrigerate the rest, and use it tomorrow in a salad, a sandwich, or scrambled eggs. You'll save money and reduce waste because you won't be buying overpriced small tins. And if you're genuinely worried about waste, freeze it. Drain the sweet corn, spread it on a plate, freeze it for an hour until the kernels are individually frozen, then transfer to a freezer bag. It'll last for months and you can take out exactly what you need. Frozen sweet corn from a tin works just as well as frozen sweet corn from a bag, and it's cheaper if you bought the right tin to begin with. The only exception is if you're genuinely storage limited. If you live in a tiny flat with no cupboard space and no freezer, then yes, buying smaller quantities makes sense. But for most people, buy the big tin. Use what you need, store the rest. Stop paying double for convenience you don't actually need. The sweet corn aisle is proof of how food manufacturers and retailers extract maximum profit from a simple commodity product. They do it through portion manipulation, brand markup, unnecessary additives, and health washing. So the next time you're standing in that aisle, skip the cartoon giant, ignore the salt-free labels, avoid the tiny tins, and grab the biggest, plainest, cheapest tin you can find. It's the same sweet corn. Your wallet will thank you. And if this video helped you see through the marketing nonsense, hit subscribe. We're exposing these tactics across every supermarket aisle.